Mr. Chairman and friends, a very good day to you from FAO headquarters in Rome. I am Ajit Maru, Senior Officer of the Global Forum on Agriculture Research. My organization is mandated to make agriculture research and innovation, which includes extension and education systems globally, more capable. What I am going to discuss before you is new challenges for India's agriculture, factors ailing India's agricultural education system, new manpower and skills needs for India's agriculture, a roadmap for reshaping India's agricultural education and learning systems and its development, and the role of actors and stakeholders in reshaping this roadmap. There are new challenges for India in continuing to contribute to the country's food sovereignty, economic growth, and the fight against hunger and malnutrition and poverty. India has to produce more affordable, healthy, safe, nutritious, high quality food and also make this food more easily accessible to its people, rapidly become more competitive in global markets, resiliently improve its productivity by more than 4% annually from rapidly dwindling arable land and excess water to reach about 8% annual growth, which is very important for our economic development, produce new materials for rapidly changing economy that has to become bio-based, become sustainable in the use of natural resources and for livelihoods of those who practice it, adapt rapidly to increased weather variability, aberrations, and effects of climate change, respond effectively to threat and manage spreading of transboundary plant and zoonotic diseases and pests and narrowing biodiversity. India therefore now needs to rapidly innovate in its agriculture and food systems. It is here that this particular conference and its topic would be very important because for India to innovate its agriculture, it now more new educational systems, new learning for its farmers. Because if we want to meet the challenge of rapid innovation in Indian agriculture and farming, it has to become knowledge intensive. For rapidly innovative agriculture in India, it has not only to produce high quality scientists, extension specialists and experts in providing agricultural technologies and services, but also innovative farmers, agri-entrepreneurs and even consumers who are innovative in increasing value addition in agriculture and food systems. To change this in a very fundamental and basic way to meet these challenges is by reshaping India's formal agricultural education and informal learning system. I would like to put this before you that India's agricultural learning systems have not been paid the attention that has to be done, and these new issues like Digital India and other programs can be very useful for improving India's agricultural learning system. India has more than 100 years of history in providing formal higher agricultural education. This education was strengthened in 1960s and has been fostered to grow since then. However, there is widespread perception which is borne by some evidence that Indian agricultural education has in recent years lowered its standards and has reduced ability to meet rapidly changing needs of the country in its development. India, some of the factors that have been affecting India's agricultural education system are poor governance and management, lack of autonomy from the government, poor quality and weak implementation of agri-teaching norms, declining investment and irregular funding, with most universities' revenue being utilized for establishment rather than actual education and research, and poor resource planning, splitting of state agricultural universities without considering available capacities and resources, depleted faculty strengths, isolation from international exposure, lack of skilled manpower in the frontier areas of science and technology, poor contributions to agriculture and rural development policy and strategy formulations, annual student enrollment which is not commensurate with the growth in demand, inadequate hands-on skill experience for the multiple disciplines within the profession, inbreeding where students are limited to one region, and faculty who have graduated and done their post-graduation from the same university where they now teach, declining quality of students and faculty, outdated curricula, weak teaching learning processes, inadequate and weak linkages with the private sector, and its poor participation in agriculture education except in opening new private colleges for profit only, lack of incentive mechanisms for performance, inappropriate and obsolete tuition fee model. We now need more people. We now need to fill a shortfall of almost 3,000 graduates, postgraduates, technicians and trained researchers with postgraduate qualifications needed by 2020. A recent study by IFPRI indicates how short we are when only 0.05% of our students are taking up agriculture at the bachelor's level. Generate hundreds of thousands of vocationally trained extension agents and young farmers to enable agriculture to innovate and maintain India's rapid development and growth. And we now need to have agriculture communities that are able to learn new and innovative ways of doing agriculture. We also now need to pursue excellence in our agricultural education, at least as it lays the foundation of future enterprise, research, extension and education itself. Our excellence in agriculture education has not really been in the top of the world. Include agriculture as a subject for primary and secondary school education in rural areas. We have tried to do this, but we have not really been very successful in doing this in a very functional way. Enable continuing post-qualification education for graduates from agriculture universities. This has been one of the weakest in India because we have hardly any opportunity created for post-qualification education from bachelor's, postgraduate to even PhD levels in agricultural subjects. Vocational agricultural education and of enabling learning opportunities for agricultural communities. One of the core issues in vocational agriculture education is entrepreneurship. We are not focusing on entrepreneurship. Pursue more vigorously quality research and link this research to fulfillment of societal needs for development. This is a common cry for most of the people in our societies that our agricultural research and education, as is all science, is not able to fulfill the needs of the society. We must try and improve this. For enabling learning for agricultural communities, there have been overemphasis on agricultural extension through technological package rather than in creating science-based problem-solving abilities among the country's farming communities. This extension has also bypassed the women and youth who could be harnessed to practice modern farming and operate related sub-enterprises. The ICT revolution in India, especially of the internet and the smartphones together, offers a great opportunity to enable appropriate learning in agricultural communities, but we are not seeing so much of a progress, though there are some very interesting initiatives that are now taking place. Take for example the Krishi Gyan initiative of the Doordarshan to provide video learning to farmers as a 24-hour channel on the TV. India also has to enable this learning vigorously with increased investment and development of new capacities to use ICTs for learning. We did a very good job in the 1960s in using radio, but we did not do such a good job in using TV. Now we have an opportunity. We should now use the new smartphone and the internet capabilities that are emerging to, to bring in learning for farmers and other entrepreneurs in our communities. We now need a roadmap to reshape India's agricultural education. This must provide direction the country must take in reshaping India's agricultural education and learning systems. Some of these objectives to be achieved through this roadmap are: enhance knowledge capital in the field of food and agriculture and agribusiness, contribute and enable meeting challenges through innovation and in agriculture, especially food production, to eradicate hunger, malnutrition and alleviate poverty, contribute to rapid economic growth, make livelihoods viable and improve quality of life in rural areas, enable Indian agriculture to be globally competitive in agricultural productivity and quality of its produce, usher in a sustainable agriculture by increasing the productivity of arable lands, soil, water, energy, etc., and preserve biodiversity as well as stop and reverse environmental degradation, utilize science and technology effectively in agriculture, support other developing countries in their agricultural development and through excellence. We have a responsibility for the world because we are one of the largest agricultural research systems in the world, and we have to do this for vast areas in Africa and in other countries in Asia that need our help. There are what I have told you are just very generic objectives based on perceptions of agricultural experts and university faculty as expressed in a discussion that we had at the Indian National Agriculture Science Congress held at Bhubaneswar in 2013. But there certainly is clearly a need for a national review on agricultural education that will verify the perceptions and listed above in the state of Indian agricultural education and ascertain the perspectives of all stakeholders for developing a roadmap to reshape India's agricultural education and learning systems and plan its detailed implementation. A possible roadmap in a time frame of about 15 years can be suggested, and I try and suggest it to you for your consideration. Its implementation can be done in 3 phases: short, medium and long term. We must synchronize it to India's economic and social transformation policy and planning processes. We must be able to leverage the simultaneous investments being made in agriculture, research and extension at the union and state levels. There is also a need for close synchronization between union and state in implementing this roadmap, as agriculture, while being on the concurrent list of India's constitution, is also a state's subject. Now, this particular roadmap has got, say, for the 3 and 5 years to achieve the objectives. Then these objectives could be improving governance of India's agricultural education system, especially at the university and college level through mandatory accreditation, and some of these reasons I give below. Increasing and improving quality, appropriately targeting investments in agriculture education, including higher, secondary, university and vocational training and community learning. Again, I give you some of those areas that we can improve. Revision of curricula at UG and PG levels to meet the new needs of new required for agriculture and entrepreneurship. Improving capacity in human resources, infrastructure and connectivity community it ultimately serves, and if need be through consolidation of existing institutions and capacities. The principal medium-term actions within 7 and 10 years that would be needed are attracting youth to agricultural vocations, including farming and research and extension and quality education, ensuring a continuing growth and improvements in quality of education and learning in the entire agricultural education system in a sustainable manner and with autonomy. The long-term actions within 12 to 15 years that would continue from those started in the short and medium-term phase are linking agriculture education institutes to the emerging bio-based economy and enterprise, achieving academic and scientific excellence that is recognized globally, and societal recognition for contribution to development impacts. And I feel that for reshaping India's agricultural education, we must have a concerted effort not only of the government or of universities, but several other actors and stakeholders that will be necessary to improve and reshape India's agricultural education and learning systems. In addition to the governments and the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, as also the state agricultural universities and other educational institutions, we need to have the private sector and the civil society organizations and agricultural communities playing a role. Very much for listening to me and some of my ideas in reshaping India's agricultural education and learning. For a further definition, I give you my email, and you may send an email to me to discuss this issue further. Thank you very much.